So, India has just done something huge. They've completely overhauled their criminal code, swapping out old colonial era laws for the brand new Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, or BNS. Now, this isn't just some minor legal tweak. We're talking about a fundamental shift in everything, from how prisoners are treated to what it even means to commit a crime against the nation. We're going to break down the biggest changes, and we're starting inside a prison's darkest cell. We're kicking things off with a term that honestly sounds like it's from another time, Kal Kothri, which literally means the black cell. It's the term for solitary confinement. And believe it or not, under this new law, the rules for this incredibly extreme punishment have been totally rewritten. So let's go behind those prison walls. What exactly are the new limits on isolating a prisoner from all human contact? And why is it even done in the first place? You might think solitary confinement is purely about punishment, but under the new code, it's really a two-sided coin. On one hand, yeah, it's for managing inmates who are just too dangerous to be around others. But on the flip side, it can actually be used to protect an inmate who might be a target for other prisoners. Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. The law sets up this very clear, tiered system. The total time someone can spend in solitary is tied directly to their overall prison sentence. And look at that bottom line. There's an absolute cap of 3 months. Doesn't matter how long their sentence is, 3 months is the max. But it's not just about setting a total time limit. The law really digs deeper because it recognizes the massive psychological toll that this kind of isolation can take. So what's really crucial here are the new rules about how that time is served, which are specifically designed to prevent a prisoner's mental state from deteriorating. And check this out. For anyone with a shorter total sentence, we're talking 3 months or less, they can't be in solitary for more than 14 days straight. And here's the key part. After that 2-week stretch, they have to be given an equally long break. It's like a built-in reset button, a system of punishment and recovery. Now, you might think the rules would get looser for longer sentences, but it's the opposite. If the prison term is more than 3 months, solitary is capped at just 7 days in any given month. It's a really clear signal that the law is trying to limit the long-term psychological damage of that isolation. All right, so we've been looking at things at a very individual level. Now we're going to pull the camera way, way back. We're shifting from the punishment of a single person to crimes that threaten the entire nation. And this is a really fundamental difference in how the law thinks. See, for most crimes, you get punished for the attempt or the act itself. But when you're talking about waging war against your own country, the law doesn't wait around. It steps in way earlier. Every single step, starting with just the initial plan, is considered a serious crime. And this timeline just lays it all out. First up, you've got conspiracy. That's just the moment the plan is even born. Then there's preparation, gathering weapons, getting people together. After that, concealment, trying to hide the whole plot. And then finally, you have the act itself, which even includes just helping someone else do it. Every single one of these stages is its own separate punishable offense. Okay, let's tackle one of the most hotly debated changes in this entire new code. The old colonial-era law on sedition, it's gone. And in its place is a completely new and much more specific definition of what it means to commit an offense against the state. So, what's actually different? The number one problem with the old sedition law was always how incredibly vague it was. I mean, think about it. How do you legally define feelings like hatred or disaffection? It's impossible. And critics argued for years that this vagueness left the door wide open for the law to be misused against anyone who just disagreed with the government. And this comparison just says it all, doesn't it? The new law makes a massive shift. We're moving away from punishing these subjective, vague feelings and focusing instead on concrete, definable actions. It's no longer about what you feel about the government, it's about what you do to endanger the country. So the new law, Section 152, lays out 5 very specific categories. We're talking about things like inciting secession, promoting an armed rebellion, or encouraging what the law calls subversive activities. The big takeaway here is the attempt to separate legitimate criticism from actions that are actively trying to break the country apart. And really importantly, the law is getting a 21st century upgrade. It specifically calls out that these offenses can happen through modern tools. It explicitly mentions electronic communication, so think social media, and the use of financial means, like funding these activities. All right, for our final topic, we're zooming right back into the courtroom. We're going to look at a crime that strikes at the very foundation of our entire justice system: lying under oath. The definition itself is pretty simple. If you're in a situation where you are legally required to tell the truth, whether you've taken an oath or signed a declaration, and you intentionally say something you know isn't true, well, that's the crime of giving false evidence. Now, here's the part that's absolutely crucial to understand. The crime is committed the second the lie is told. It doesn't matter if the judge believed you or if it changed the outcome of the case at all. The law punishes the lie itself because the real damage is to the trust we have in the whole system. So this brings up a really fascinating question, right? What about lawyers? I mean, they're presenting their client's case. What if that case is built on a lie? Can the lawyer get in trouble for it? And the legal system has a very clear answer: no. Case law has basically established that a lawyer isn't a witness. Their job isn't to swear to the facts themselves. Their job is to present their client's side of the story. They're essentially a legal mouthpiece, not a witness giving testimony. Okay, here's another great legal puzzle for you. You know that classic courtroom scene? Do you swear to tell the truth and all that? Well, what if it just doesn't happen? What if a judge just forgets to administer the oath? Does that give the witness a free pass to lie? Well, the courts have thought about that one too, and the answer is, again, no. The fundamental duty to be truthful in court doesn't actually depend on that little ceremony. Even if the oath is missed, a witness is still legally bound to tell the truth, and they can absolutely be prosecuted if they don't. So, when you put it all together, what does it all mean? Well, this new criminal code is really a fascinating balancing act. On one side, you have these new rules that try to humanize punishment and protect an individual's well-being. But on the other, you have a major expansion of the state's power to go after what it sees as threats to national security. And really, that leaves us with the big question that this new code is trying to answer. How does any modern democracy strike that perfect balance between protecting the nation and protecting the rights of the individual? This new law is India's latest attempt to find that sweet spot, a challenge that's never really over. Thanks for joining this explainer. We'll see you next time.